Order. I note the interest in this UQ... Yes, in a moment. I note the interest in this UQ grew as it was taking place, with the first Deputy Chairman Ways and Means, the Honourable Member for Epping Forest, and the Right Honourable Gentleman for Chingford and Woodford Green have toddled into the chamber.
My constituency.
Yes, well, I know his constituency interest, and others have taken a keen interest. Good. I'm going to allow a point of order because I think it relates directly to the exchanges that have just taken place, but I know that the Right Honourable Gentleman won't abuse his privilege. Mr. Andy Burnham.
And I'm grateful for him making allowance for this point of order. In her non-reply to my questions, Mr. Speaker, the Minister, I believe, inadvertently misled the House. She said that I had blocked, before the last election, a report on Basildon Hospital. I wish to place on the record, Mr. Speaker, that I made an oral statement to this House about Basildon Hospital and published reports on the 30th of November 2009. I followed that up with a written statement to this House on the 5th of March 2010. I'd be grateful if the Minister would now consider withdrawing her comments.
Well, I note what the Shadow Secretary of State has said. He's put it on the record. The Minister is welcome to respond if she wishes, but she's not obliged.
Speaker, obviously I wasn't a member of the House at that time, and if it were the case that I had inadvertently misled the House, of course I wouldn't wish to do that. Nevertheless, I think that there were serious elements. Mr. Speaker, I read out a comment, Mr. Speaker, I read out evidence that was given to the Francis inquiry, Mr. Speaker, that made it clear that such a culture did exist. But on the specific point, if that isn't quite right, then obviously I would withdraw.
Grateful to the Honourable Lady for what she said. We'll leave it there. Order. Just before we come to the statement by the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, I just want to make a very brief statement myself. The content of ministerial statements is by long-standing practice not a matter for the Chair, nor is my permission required for such a statement to be made. But these statements have to be ministerial, delivered not in a personal or a party capacity, but on behalf of the government. While some latitude is of course permitted, there does come a point at which using the privilege accorded to ministers for purely party purposes would be unfair to the House and put the Chair in a very difficult position. I know that the Right Honourable Gentleman will bear that in mind. Statement, the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Mr. Danny Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, my Right Honourable friend, the Chancellor, set out the final coalition budget of this Parliament. The policy